Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about, is life better in Thailand? Obviously that's going to be very subjective. That's going to be really determined on where you're coming from, what your lifestyle was, what your personal preferences are, what you're looking for. So we're going to talk a little bit of the different things that might determine whether Thailand is a place that will actually make you happier than you are now. So first of all, let's look at the reasons why you want to move. Let's look at a few examples. Number one, let's say, are you just sick of the way things are going in your country and you just want out, you want to go somewhere else, you're done, you're sick of it, and you want everything to be brand new. Understandable. So that may be one reason. Or let's say you're looking for adventure. So you're wanting to go somewhere where there's lots of action, adventure, everything's different. Well, Thailand could be different. I don't know where you're coming from, but if you're coming from, let's say, the United States or a Western country, I can tell you that it's a lot different. So yes, Thailand may definitely be a place for new adventure. Maybe you want to move to Thailand for a fresh start. Things didn't go right in your life. You're just wanting to start over new with entirely new faces, new culture, new experiences, and you just want that fresh start. That could be a reason. Maybe you just want to be in an environment with an easier, more relaxing lifestyle. Because as we know, a lot of us that live in big cities or in a hectic environment, it's hard not to get caught up in it. I mean, it's probably been your lifestyle your whole life, for a lot of people at least, and you want to move somewhere where you're taken out of that kind of environment. Thailand is definitely a place where you can get away from it. But just to warn you, you could put yourself right back into it depending on the lifestyle and location that you put yourself there. But that is a definite good reason to want to move to Thailand, is for a more relaxed lifestyle. And maybe you're just looking for a more simple way of life. Maybe you want to turn back the hands of time, because here in Thailand, things are a little bit different. It reminds me somewhat of what we were able to get away with and do back in, let's say, the 70s and early 80s in the United States. It is a breath of fresh air to kind of go back in time with a lot of things. Want an example? Well, okay. I remember back in the 70s and 80s, if a friend of yours came up with a, let's say, a truck, you could just jump in the back of it and go down the road. Nobody thought a thing about it. And now there's laws in the United States. You got to be buckled up. You can't ride in the back of the truck. At least you couldn't where I lived. If you can other places, I don't know about it. Anyway, here, pretty much if you're on a vehicle and you can hold on some way, somehow, you're good. So a lot of things I see here reminds me of times past from the United States. Now, maybe you've made a mess of your life and you're just wanting to get away with problems, or you're around people that just irritate you. Maybe it's family, maybe it's friends, and you just want to get far enough away from them that they're not going to bother you at all. Yes, that would be an awesome reason to come here. And yes, it could make your life happier. And maybe you're looking to move here for a business opportunity or some other sort of goal that you have in mind here in Thailand. Well, if that's the case, then obviously this could be a place that could make your life more enjoyable if it's going to fit your need for your personal goal. So now that we've looked at some reasons on why you would want to come here, let's talk about some of the things, the differences that may or may not play into you being happy here or not. Now, the first thing is cost of living. If that's one of the reasons you want to move here and you're from Europe or you're from the United States or maybe you're from Australia, yeah, this would probably be a place with a lower cost of living. Just know here in Thailand that, yeah, overall cost of living lower whole country. But within Thailand, there's different costs of living from the north to the south, tourist areas to the non-tourist areas. So if you're really looking to pinch that penny, I wouldn't suggest that you go live in some big tourist area right in the thick of everything. Prices are going to be a little bit higher. Why? Because there's a lot of tourists. And you're going to look like a tourist even if you live here. And you're probably going to be treated like a tourist, and you're going to get tourist prices because you're going to end up going to all the places, restaurants, live events that are all catered to tourists. And if that's what you want to do, fine. It will be a lower cost of living than what you're probably used to. But if you're really looking to pinch that penny, you're going to want to go somewhere Maybe up north where I'm at, Chiang Mai, the cost of living is actually lower than places like Bangkok, Koh Samui, or even Phuket. So you really want to look at the area that's going to give you the best bang for your buck, and that can vary from where you're at in Thailand. Now, another thing that can determine your happiness here is healthcare. And you may say, well, I'm healthy, I don't care about healthcare. You will if something happens to you. You don't want to get to a country, if something bad happens to you, that you need to leave the country and go somewhere else for competent healthcare. But I can assure you, here in Thailand, they have some of the best healthcare in the world. Not the best, but some of the best places. Really, really, really good healthcare here. I'm getting more acquainted with it every day. As I have more friends here, I end up going to visit them in the hospital for different things. They have a friend of mine just had a pulmonary embolism, and I went to the hospital to visit him. I think it's only been a month and a half ago. I had another friend get in a motorcycle accident with a car, visited him at another hospital. So what I'm finding out is that they're really satisfied with the health care. And I've read forums from other expats that live in Thailand that all just sing praises about the health care here in Thailand. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, you probably do need to get a health insurance policy, at least for the big stuff, while you're here, because I hope it never happens to you. But if you were to get in some sort of traffic accident or something major here in Thailand, it can be expensive, and you want to make sure you have insurance to cover it. And insurance here is not the most expensive in the world. It is fairly affordable. So if you're coming here and hoping to be happier, let's talk about jobs. So you're going to need to make an income somehow. And I'm going to tell you what I've experienced with other expats when it comes to employment. Now, some of the expats that I met are teachers. They teach English as a second language. If you're wanting to teach English, something like that, from what I've read, you do need to have a degree. Check me up on that. Look, do a Google search. I'm not the expert on everything, but I'm pretty sure you're going to need a degree from a college. I think it's just in any subject. Again, check this out. But you also, I think it's very good for you to have that certificate for English as a second language. I think it's TESL or something like that. So you may want to check that out. There's a lot of people teaching English here. Other people I have met here have other jobs that don't fall into the teaching category, but they're all sporadic, and they're things that Thailand needed an expert from another country. Jobs here for foreigners aren't the easiest to get. Most of the people that I meet here that are expats are making an income from their original country of origin. So you can call them digital nomads. They're working on the computer, or they're doing something here where they're making a paycheck from back home, but still living here. And also, I'd say the number one thing is there's a lot of retired folks here who are using their pension, their retirement, to go that extra mile because the cost of living here is so low. Now, another thing we want to take a look at is the infrastructure, the difference between the infrastructure here in Thailand versus where you're from in your home country. So the infrastructure here, it's hard to compare because I don't know where you're coming from, but let's just say in parts of Thailand, it is a lot less sophisticated than what you may be used to. In other parts, for a good example, Bangkok, you will find some of the best infrastructure, well, some of the best in the world, I would go out to say, where they have buses, trains, planes, taxis, everything's there. Everything's going to cater to every one of your needs. Where I live up in Chiang Mai, things are a lot different here, especially the infrastructure as far as transportation goes. We don't have a train station that goes all over the place, a commuter thing. We don't have a big taxi system here. We don't have a lot of those things. So it's a little bit different. So the infrastructure can be a lot different than what you're used to. And if you're wanting to stay with more modern things, you need to look at more larger, busier cities here in Thailand. And yes, Chiang Mai is the second biggest city in Thailand, but the infrastructure here is not even close to, in comparison to the infrastructure in Bangkok. So let's look at culture and lifestyle. So will the culture and lifestyle here in Thailand make you happier? Well, I will say that the people here I come from South Carolina, which is a state in the United States. It's in the South. You always hear about in the United States Southern hospitality. I will say people in South Carolina, some of the nicest people I've ever met. However, here in Thailand, as a country, as a whole, have some of the nicest, sweetest, biggest smile people you will ever meet. So as a country, I would say that the culture here is very nice. There's exceptions, so don't blow up the comment section with all the bad. Well, you can if you want, but yes, there is bad here. But overall, you will find the people of Thailand very kind and very welcoming. Now, is life better here in Thailand? Let's talk about language. So language, you're constantly, if you don't know Thai, you're constantly going to have a language barrier. I will say if you're anywhere in Thailand where they're used to having foreigners, you should have very little problem getting around, ordering food, doing all the daily tasks you normally want to do. A lot of Thais that are in business will know what you're talking about. When you go to the little mom and pop things, or you're dealing with Thais individually and it's not business related or something like that, you will run into more obstacles. It may not make your life happier here if you get frustrated real quick with the language barrier. And if that's something that you're really worried about, I would suggest trying to learn a little bit of Thai. And if you really want to go all out, try to get fluent in it. But you know what you want to learn and what you don't want to learn. But will life make you happier here? Yes. But as far as the language goes, I would say it really depends on what you want to put into it. Another thing we can't ignore is climate. So as you know, I hope you know, Thailand, from Western standards, is very hot year-round. However, once you have lived here for a while, you can definitely tell there's a cooler time and a warmer time. Now, when I say a cooler time, this is a cooler time here in Thailand versus the hotter times, meaning the cool season here may be considered the hot season where you're from. But once you've been here long enough and you're in the month like I'm in now, May, sweating to death in this country, when you get to the months like November, December, January, and it's a lot cooler for Thai standards, you're actually going to feel cool after a while. I've been here 2 years. The first time I went through those months, the cooler months, didn't feel that cool to me. The last time I just went around it, it actually felt cold at times, especially in the morning. I actually had to wear a jacket. So when you're considering, is life going to be better here in Thailand, think of your individual preferences, what you're looking for, why you're planning on moving here. I hope this information was helpful. If it was, please like this video. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed and you'd like to see more videos. And if you feel so inclined, buy us a coffee. There's a link in the description. Also a thanks button right down below in the navigation. If you feel like contributing monthly to the channel, visit us on Patreon, link in the description. And until next time, I'm going to say thank you in Thai, which is Kap Kun Kap.